All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Theorycrafting Thursday. This is the Team Instinct episode. We are evangelizing the gospel of Zapdos. I say with my raspy voice.
Zap, zap, zap!
Yep, we have seen the light, some would say, and
the light being even.
Yeah, the light being the yellow one, my favorite kind of light, the yellow kind, and we're here. You know, maybe we'll talk about Dota at some point, but really, more importantly, we're going to be talking about how awful the red team is, how mediocre the blue team is, and how great the yellow team is. Because
I've come up with names for them. There's Team Stupid Dumbasses and Team. Wait, no, it's Stupid Assholes and Team Dumb Assholes. Those are the two teams, and then there's the Yellow Instinct.
Nice. I had a metaphor earlier, but I forgot it. So that's that. I mean, yep. I feel like we could really go into it, but there's really no point. Like anybody, you know, if you're playing Pokemon Go and you haven't hit level 5 yet, all I'm saying is like, you know, we've got some .p hosts who will not be named are ignorant and chose the blue team, and you know, shame. Fortunately, I don't think we have any hosts that are red team, thank God. But you know, if you want to be with the cool kids, you join Team Yellow, right?
The hipsters.
You know, so.
Nonconformist, real punk DIY poke style. Team Instinct!
On that note, let's go talk about Dota. How has your week in Dota been, Proud?
I don't know, whatever. How's your week been?
I can't complain. It's been...
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we've had a lot of good team practices, I think. I haven't been playing much, so like solo queue, honestly. I've played I don't know. I've played like maybe 5 solo queue. I played some party games, some international party queue. But really, like, I haven't been trying to climb or anything too much recently. I've just kind of been relaxing, and obviously I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Go in the last few days, so that's been detracting from my Dota 2 time. But you know, it's all the regular, really nothing too important. I'm getting back into playing Invoker. I like took a bunch of months off of him.
Yeah, when he was good.
Yeah, I know. Everybody always makes fun of me as the Dota hipster, and you know, I acknowledge that I am. Maybe that's why I chose Team Instinct, but
that's exactly why you chose Team Instinct.
I just don't like playing. Granted, Invoker is still a very high pick rate, and he's always had a high pick rate, even when he was a really bad hero. Like, he's just really fun. But now recently, I think it's mostly because I've been playing more party queue, so I'm not always supporting. But Invoker is just really fun. And also I bought the special Immortal / kind of Arcana for him. Only the back piece, though, because like that's the only important piece. It also looks cool in my set. But yeah, so that's been fun relearning the hero. It's definitely a hero that like you get really rusty on. There's like a special tier, I think, of heroes where like, you know, if you don't play them for a while, like even if it's only a few weeks, like for instance, I was playing Invoker the other day, and for the first probably 20 minutes of the game, I was just playing like it was my first time playing the hero and like mismicroing abilities and missing sunstrikes. But then, you know, you warm up a little, you get some oil in those cogs, or, you know, I don't know how machines work. And then, you know, you're running like a finely oiled machine, finely tuned machine, one of those two.
Just give up. Just give up.
I'm going to continue my mechanical engineering metaphors in future weeks. I will educate myself. I apologize, kind listener. Anyway, that's been fun. Right. I don't know. That's kind of like what I was first known as within .p is like, oh, it's the Invoker guy. And still, he's by most played hero by a large margin. He has double the matches played of my second most and third most played heroes, for context. And that's not counting my Battle Fury Smurf. So I've played quite a bit of the hero, but I took a while off. So I'm glad to be getting back on the saddle and relearning the wonders of Carl. So, do you have anything else that you want to talk about for your week in Dota? Because, like,
it's been going okay. I'm of the opinion now with PA that like any build that isn't just Phase, Aki, Vanguard, Deso is not a good build. Like, I've had plenty of decent starts with Battle Fury that just don't go as well as when I just go like Rush, Vanguard, and then Deso. Like, there's 2 dimensions to being greedy, right? There's being greedy in that I'm just gonna farm a shit ton, and then there's well, okay, I should rephrase. There are 2 ways to deal with having a really good start. You could just accept that your standard build is going to happen faster, which is unanimously good. There's no situation where you're mad that your build is happening faster than it would otherwise. Like, that can't blow up in your face. You know what I mean? Do you know what I fucking mean or not?
I know what you mean because literally every time you play PA, we lose. And
Wow,
I'm glad
okay,
you brought
thank
up
you.
this hero.
It has nothing to do with anything. Anyway,
It has a lot to do.
so shut the fuck up. All right, so the other thing you could do is you'd be like, all right, man, I'm farming real well. I'm gonna like change my build up and like buy a Midas here, or like get a Battle Fury, or whatever farm intensive item, and that can potentially blow up in your face. So you need to really be sure that it's not like the only way to take advantage of doing well is to buy farming items, right? You can just farm better by doing your build faster, you're doing your regular build and just kill people. And I think with PA, that's always the right call. Almost always anyways. So I win almost all of my games where I go Battle Fury or where I go Deso fast, and I lose every Battle Fury game I go these days. So if I play this hero anymore, I'm definitely just going to go straight fucking Vanguard Battle Fury or Vanguard Deso. Fuck. Naming things is fucking hard, all right? If you've ever been on a show, fucking forget names all the time, especially if you're me and you're fucking stupid.
Podcasting is hard. So I'm glad you brought up PA because this is like a point of contention within our team. Like obviously, like when we win or lose games, right? You always have a discussion afterwards. And I'm less open-minded, I suppose, than people like Flub or Proud. But I see the merits of PA, and like I want the hero to be good. I actually really like PA. She's one of my favorite carries to play. But every time I see this hero, whether it's you playing it or somebody in my pub's playing it, I just freaking lose every game with this hero because it's like, oh, you're a good hero, but you rely on crits, and then you don't get a crit even though you hit the guy 5 times and you just have bad luck. And then we lose the fight because like your hero is RNG based, even though it's like obviously we know it's scaling RNG, so like it's not true RNG, whatever. But
yeah,
it just like it just bothers me so much. This hero, and maybe that is all like confirmation bias. So like I don't like the hero, therefore every time I lose with it, I notice it, and every time I win with it, I don't. I'm perfectly, I may be completely off my rocker here, but like you're a very good PA, and I still like every time we play it, unlike our team or whatever, I feel like we could just get rolled or like we win, but
yeah. I'm looking at the games
PA.
now, and every game I play with you, I go Battle Fury, and then we lose. And then every game I play with the rest of the team and I don't go Battle Fury, either we win or I do extremely well, and Sultan plays Ember Spirit, and we lose.
Yeah, that sounds like Vafa to me. Oh, I kind of feel bad because, we have the official Doppy punching bag, kind of Sir Grouty, and, that's all good and fun. We all like Grouty, even though we like...
Protect our Grouties.
We all like Grouty, but we all like messing with Grouty a lot more because, like, the fun value is different. You're the exception to the rule. But
you guys are assholes.
Vafa within our team is like, Dot P may have a punching bag, but Hakuna Marana, our punching bag is just Vafa. And it's all good spirited, but I feel bad because we bring it up on the podcast, and like Vafa's never been on compared to like Proud or Skrunk or Fafnir, and people don't know him, so people are just gonna have this horrible mental image of Vafa like just diving and feeding every game or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he does that though. So like, let's be honest. Anyway, yeah, I'm kind of conflicted with PA. Like, I totally see its merits sometimes, and like, I don't think it's necessarily a bad hero. I just like. I don't know why. I just like, I'm sure it's just confirmation
she's not good.
bias.
There are specific games that PA are good in, and I'm normally pretty good at identifying them. But every time she gets buffed, there's a part of me that's like, maybe this game's a PA game. You don't know. Maybe it is. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to try it. And then nope, I was wrong. But once I'm sure that PA is a shit hero, which I'm basically of now, then I enter, fucking... A Beautiful Mind, and I can see all the fucking connections between what makes like, oh, it all comes together. Phantom Assassin is a viable pick here, and then I can pick it and I can win. But now I found the main connection, the fucking ley line that I need to follow to the fucking arcane source of PA's power is not building Battle Fury anymore. I think that's done.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously, of course, it's different builds for different games, but. Yeah, I think the hero definitely needs something, whether it's somebody discovering a new build or reinventing how the hero is played, or just like she needs, like a lot of other heroes that have been buffed into like relevance, like they need that little tick, like, oh, she has 0.3 more agi per level or something like that. Like that's the kind of thing that I think PA needs. That's
I really
think
it's just going phase Aki, Vanguard, Deso, because like
Yeah.
When I started doing this, I was posting like a shit ton on Twitter, and I was saying, "Oh man, this is so fucking good, and I'm winning every fucking game, and it's amazing." And then I started getting greedy and being like, "Oh man, I can go Battlefield right now. I'm gonna go Battlefield. Everything's gonna be great. And I'm gonna farm a lot. I'm gonna have fun." And then it just you fucking lose, and then you have Ursinity saying, "Well, I don't know if PA is the pick, guys. I think it's shit." And then I just have to deal with this shit every fucking day. So
Yeah.
I'll go back to doing my thing, and I won't have to hear you fucking talk like Lumpy Space Princess in my fucking ear.
Yeah, to be fair, I do that to the rest of our teammates. It's like I'm more rigid. I think I said this earlier, but I'm like we have like you and Flub especially have a lot of like oftentimes very good and like game winning innovative ideas, and I prefer like consistency and like the basics. Like one thing we talked about, I think we talked about in the previous week when we had Flub on about support duos, is like when I think about support picks, like just pick Lion or Venge, right? Like you don't need to pick like these fancy support duos and like they work and we win games with them, but still there's something to be said about consistency. And PA, every time I see PA, I'm thinking like, boy, we could have had like Sven, or we could have had Jug, or we could have had one of these like rote like when somebody picks Sven or Jug or any number of other carries, you know exactly what they're going to do, right? It's like, all right, they pick this hero, it's going to do X amount of damage, and like maybe they have a data list and there's that to account for, but they're not relying on it. Whereas PA, it's like there's a certain amount of things you can account for, like, all right, she's going to throw daggers, she's going to crit sometimes, but in those like high tension moments, like I remember in a game we had recently where you picked PA. Let's see, I'll actually pull up the
was
game.
Fighting like a Timbersaw, and I was like, just one crit would have changed the world.
Yeah, no, it was specifically, it was the OD game where you hit OD probably like 6 times, and OD was low life, and like you had a lot of damage at that point. You had your like Vanguard, Treads, and Battle Fury, and like a Yasha, I think, and like we would have easily won that fight, but like you just had bad luck, and like you just get shafted by RNG, and then it's like, all right, you didn't crit, so we lost the fight, and then they took a lane of racks. And I prefer that kind of consistency. And like I said, I don't think PA is like the worst hero in Dota. It's just very frustrating to me, like these kind of picks that are out of not out of meta per se, but like they rely on other factors to be good compared to a consistent hero like a Lion.
PA was not a good hero this game at all, honestly. Like I'm against fucking Slark, who builds a Silver Edge, and OD is impossible for like any hero to kill. Like OD is so fucking tanky. I hate that hero. Fuck him.
Yeah, OD is really, and he got buffed this. So 6.88B came out, we are doing a segment later. Ironically, we did not think to do a segment on 6.88B.
Oh shit, we're dumb as fuck.
Yeah. That being said, Joe, like highlights of 6.88B, basically nothing was super significant except for Terrorblade nerfs. Do you remember them? You're the Terrorblade player.
Yeah, I'm looking at them. They're right fucking here. So you don't retain Metamorphosis when you die and then come back to life.
Yeah.
Whether that be through buyback. I remember recently I was playing Terrorblade, and like I died, like I Metamorphosis right before I died, and I was like, that was fucking stupid. And then you were like, oh, can someone take the stack? And I'm like, well, I can't. And then I respawn, I'm like, oh, I have Metamorphosis. Yeah, I'll go take that stack. Fuck, awesome. This is incredible. What happened? So that's cool. So that's gone now, which sucks. And it's what? Sunder has more of a mana cost or something?
Yeah.
No, not Sunder, your Reflection or something.
Yeah, that one's not a big a deal. The big thing is now like he's a terrible Aegis carrier, a la Death Prophet, like that kind of like garbage tier. So like now you're gonna want to put it on a secondary core, and TV is really greedy. So like, what's your secondary core? And they're not gonna be that great of an Aegis carrier generally, and like it presents a lot of issues.
Metamorphosis has a higher mana cost. Metamorphosis mana cost from 50 to 100, which is actually impactful when you're running around on Terrorblade. Like you want to be spamming your illusions all the time, and you just barely have enough mana to do that with like a raindrop plus your Aki.
Yeah.
But with 100 cost on, like you may just not have enough mana for another illusion or something, especially when you're trying to use Manta. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
Ricky got nerfed. Thank fucking God. Fuck
Thank
that guy.
God. The nerfs are not big enough, honestly. But
yeah, they're pretty small. But I mean, I'll take it all.
So I was actually thinking we lost a game last night during team practice against a support Ricky that was like wild, aggravating, and I have always kind of like I don't like to spam heroes. Granted, I say that despite being a Winter Wyvern spammer, but
you didn't even play it that much.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I haven't been playing that much Dota, but I feel like I really should just like play like 100 games of Ricky, and I think I'd win 60 of them or 65 of them because that hero is just so darn good. So I'm probably not going to do that because I'm going on vacation in a couple days. But I just like God. That hero is so good, dude. Cloud. I've been preaching the gospel of Cloud similarly to my preaching of the gospel of Zapdos, and Cloud is such a good ability, and the hero is awesome in like a cancerous way. So 28 MMR, learn how to play Ricky and unranked. It'll only take you like 5-10 games. Then go into ranked and just like farm because like people generally don't ban it, and even if they do, like it's gonna get through half the time. And the hero's freaking good. All right.
Yeah, and if you pick it with Juggernaut, you can Omni Slash and Cloud, and so you can do like Cloud Omni Slash.
Yep.
And that's a Final Fantasy VII joke.
And also like.
Yep.
You get to play the Greedy 4, which is a really good way to climb MMR in solo. Is like, all right, I'm playing a support, so I can buy all the support things, but I can also scale into like the mid to late game because it's a pub and everyone's uncoordinated, so the game's going to go late. So think about that. Like Ricky's really good. We're not playing him today, but
another Terrorblade nerf. Fucking Brewmaster. The blue pandas dispel magic. Now basically like if you're level 25 and about 6 slotted on a Terrorblade, short of having a Satanic or something, Brewmaster's Dispel Magic will basically kill one of your illusions, and it's on a 4-second cooldown, or all of them rather.
I was gonna say it's an AoE.
Yeah, so that's incredible. Yeah, if you have fucking Legion Commander Brewmaster, no illusions will live. That's it. And Legion Commander got a slight buff too. Her press the attack, her little heal thing does some more attack speed. Sniper turn rate a little bit better. Night vision a little bit better is good stuff. Warlock Golem HP increase is decent. Thirst early game on Bloodseeker is better. Doesn't really matter too much. Like, I mean, your jungle a little bit faster, but normally you have Thirst up at level 3 or 4 by the time you're exiting the jungle. So whatever.
Yeah.
That's about it. I mean, nothing else is too.
It's a lot of little things. There was a minor strength nerf to Terrorblade. Not Terrorblade, Timbersaw, which the hero's still important. Crazy good, but
yeah.
It is important.
Dismember, strength bone, like Pudge is a bit better now, just damage wise on his ulti.
Have fun with that one.
Scale's a bit better. Yeah. And Tree Protector also at max level of every level of tree armor is 2 seconds less, but now it goes from 14-second to 12-second cooldown. That's substantial. That's like over 10% cooldown reduction. That's some real shit. It's some little thing. Someone was saying the mana cost decrease on Epicenter for Sand King is actually a big deal, going from 175 mana to 150 at the first rank, because like before you have your blink, or like when you have Brown Boots blink on Sand King, you have like a shit mana pool and you need to have enough to Burrow Strike and ulti. So I think that's important, but
it's noticeable. But yeah, so I mean it's a pretty minor what's called patch, but that's to be expected. That being said, exciting changes overall. And I'm pretty glad Terrorblade got nerfed, because now I can go back to making fun of Gothier for being a Terrorblade picker. But also Sniper got buffed a little bit, but
whatever.
Overall the patch is not super convenient. That being said, since we didn't actually schedule that to be our segment, because we could go farther into it, we're going to talk about our actual segment, which is all about aggro duo lanes, and we're going to touch on, how they're different from solo off lane or aggro tries and a few other things. And aggro duos are actually really strong, especially I feel in pub games. And so, Proud, this was your idea, so maybe you can kick it off with why we're going to aggro duo and what are the advantages of an aggro duo. Perfect.
Okay. All right, so your Dota 2 is a game played on 2 sides with 5 people.
You're going down with this shit, buddy. I'm not saving you.
Fuck you. Anyway, all right, so aggro duo lanes are a good way to... ideally, they would secure your offlaner course some farm at the expense of having a support that's more free to rotate, and at the expense of keeping your safe lane like 100% safe. Like the idea with the tri lane is you have a safe laner that's farming, and then you have 2 supports, which is more than enough to deal with 1 off laner. So that leaves you with you get an advantage in your safe lane. So your safe laner is strong enough that they can potentially 1v1 their off laner, or at worst, just your safe laner plus 1 support can zone the off laner by themselves and shut the off laner out. And then you have 1 other support that's free to roam and do whatever. If you have a duo lane, you have your safe lane carry and your other support are going to be able to zone out their off laner just by themselves. So they need to be a strong lane. And then your duo off lane is going to be strong enough that it forces their tri lane to focus all of their efforts on you. And then they won't be able to roam with whatever roaming hero that they have. Let's say that they're running like a safe lane carry, like Spectre or something, and a kind of weak other safe lane support, like I don't know, Jakiro or something. And then they have an earth spirit who wants to roam. If you're running an aggro dual lane, like they need to sit there and they need to protect their Spectre, and the earth spirit can't do that roaming shit that he is wont to do. Also, if you're running, if they're running like a greedy, a greedy mid or something, that needs someone to help gank him so he doesn't, or help, save him a lot. If you're aggro dual lane, you can punish their rotations, shit like that. So it's the aggro dual lane kind of abuses any weak laning situations that they have. And if you're playing a pub and they have, say, like a jungler or something, the aggro dual lane has a very easy route to fuck with their jungler. You just have your support that's in the aggro dual lane, like, go fuck with their jungler, or you can both walk there. Or you can just 2v2 their lane and beat them out because they have a weak safe lane carry and a support who are expecting to be drafted, like fighting one hero, but you got two, and two is bigger than one, so they can't handle it. I don't know. You have anything to say, or is this just fucking...
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think one of the biggest advantages of running both aggro duos and aggro tri lanes is people are not as used to it, especially...
True.
I mean, at higher levels of Dota and at lower levels of Dota, like you see a lot of these weird things more often, but especially in that like mid, like high 2K, low 3K, mid 3K tier, I imagine like every game you're going to see your basic, like, all right, you're going to see a safe laner, roaming support, lane support, solo offlane, solo mid. Whereas, if you're playing in that tier and everybody's used to that, and then suddenly like somebody's aggro trying against you or aggro duoing, they're going to be confused and they're going to have to adapt, and forcing that quick adaptation can really set people off their rocker and confuse people. And if they're not acclimated to this kind of style, and like, let's say their support accidentally pulls, then you guys just bully the crap out of their safe lane because, their equilibrium is in a horrible place because their support's playing it as though it's a solo off lane. Stuff like that is big when you think about Dota as a mental game. And I really like that aspect of aggro duos. Also, I'd echo all the points you made, especially the one about having a greedier offlane that gets more farm, like the offlane we will be playing today. So I think there's a lot of like boons to it and few burdens, especially, this is almost an alternative to running a greedy jungler in some ways, right? Like
Sure.
You get a similar thing where you're getting a lot of farm out of the offlane, whereas you would not have gotten farm out of the offlane. Similarly to if you were getting farm out of the jungle, where compared to not getting farm out of the jungle, except your jungler can't rotate to other lanes and help out. Whereas if you're running an aggro duo, one of those heroes, generally the support, the more support, depending on what your combo is, can rotate out and be like, our mid needs help. And then you just leave the other guy there and he's just a regular offlane. So it gives you a lot of options and it's very malleable.
And the key to having a good duo offlane is so if you are running like, a mid who will need TP rotation, like ordinarily the weakness is, you have a support tied up, say off lane, you have a support tied up safe lane. So your rotations are pretty weak. But if you draft someone in your duo offlane that is basically an offlaner themselves that can survive, in a potential 3v1 scenario, or at least has an escape or something to do when the support leaves, like then you're pretty well off. But you definitely need to draft around that. It's not like you can be like, I'm gonna play Sven, but safe lanes take it. Can someone do offlane with me? Like, no, that's not how you don't just play Spectre offlane because you have two supports and one of them doesn't want to go safe lane. Like, you pick fucking like, someone survivable. Like you do like a Slardar dual offlane or a Bristleback dual offlane, or any hero plus Lich, that kind of thing.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I definitely think when you talk about hero pools for specific roles, the hero pool for aggro duo lanes is not, I wouldn't say very different, but there are certain exemptions and additions compared to when you compare it to like heroes that you would put in a solo offlane position or in an aggro tri, for instance. Like one of the heroes we run aggro tries with a lot is Visage, and Visage suits the aggro tri lane situation very well, whereas he does not suit the aggro duo lane well at all. And like a common solo offlaner would be like a Tide or a Clockwork. And those both don't really combo well in aggro duo lanes because they don't have that potential for aggression. And they're kind of just like heroes that sit there and get XP. Clockwork, you could make an argument for in certain aggro duos, but overall, I would kind of stand by that statement. And same thing with supports, right? Like there's supports where you'd run an aggro try that you would not run an aggro duo. So there are certain heroes that are more suited to these kind of things and less suited. Also, generally, when you run an aggro try, you're going to have a solo safe lane, obviously. And that solo safe lane often will be like a very survivable hero or an offlaner themselves. So that kind of is very different from an aggro duo. That's much more high committal. But I'm a big proponent of 2-1-2 just in general. I like, kind of goes back to my earlier statement about hero choices and when we were discussing PA, is I like consistency. When you have a 2-1-2, you have enough protection and enough chances or enough like malleability of heroes and mixing and matching lanes that you can run. You can pretty safely secure some amount of farm for at least 2 of your 3 lanes. Whereas if you run like a tri lane in your safe lane and a solo off lane and a solo mid, and then suddenly one of those lanes is lost, it's a lot harder to suddenly like, move heroes around compared to when you're a 2-1-2. And so, that's kind of my prerogative on it. I really like aggro duos, even like non-aggro duos, like just duos that are just like, all right, we're just going to dominate the lane and like be annoying. Because there's kill lanes and there's not kill lanes, and we've run both on this show. So without further ado, I guess we'll discuss our actual hero we're picking today, or 2 heroes. Our aggro duo lane will be Weaver, played by you, and Nyx Assassin, played by me. Make your bug jokes quickly. I don't have any prepared because I could care less, but it is a bug lane. Well, I know I love Nyx. I don't play him nearly as much as I used to, but he is one of my most played heroes, and he's actually one of my highest win rate heroes as far as like heroes with a ton of games go. And this choice of heroes, Weaver is a hero that we used to see more often as a solo offlane, but now she's it's a she, right? I think it's a he now. I think it used to be a she.
Weaver or Nyx?
Weaver,
I'm pretty sure is a he.
Yeah, Weaver. Yeah, in Dota 1, I think it was a she, but
might have been.
In Dota 2, Weaver is a hero that we used to see in solo offlane position because she would just bully people by Shikuchiing around. But nowadays, she's seen more in like duo lanes or even as a safe laner, where like if somebody's running an aggro try, you safe lane the Weaver and he just kind of trades. But I really like Weaver and aggro duos. We actually, a team that we scrim with and a team that we've played against runs a lot of support offlane Weaver. You won't be supporting this game, but it's actually a pretty legit combo. They go like earn Aghanims, maybe like there's one item in the middle, and then also mana boots. But Weaver's a hero that has a lot of potential, and a hero that I like to have on my team. I don't play a lot of Weaver, to be honest, but Nyx is a hero that I actually love. And Nyx, the reason we chose Nyx Weaver for this episode is less because we think Nyx Weaver is like the perfect aggro duo lane, and more because we want to run Weaver and we think it's a good combo. But even though there's some better combos, right? Like we were workshopping a few different ones, but there's something said for player preference, right? And so when we had another offlane that we were thinking of, like Weaver Night Stalker was one that like has a lot of potential. But
Weaver Spirit Breaker, I think, was another one that I thought was good. But
yeah, that was another good one. Weaver Revenge, but Nyx Assassin is a hero that I personally play a lot, so I have a lot of experience on that hero, and I know the ins and outs. And so this comes down to like player values of a hero, and when you're workshopping, especially when it comes to like full 5-man drafts for like actual teams, whether it's just in a casual 5-stack or in like a competitive setting, the perfect laning situation might be X, but Y is arguably better in certain situations just because like you have a really good Nyx player, you have like a really good Nature's Prophet player or whatever. So that's kind of something that impacted our decision as far as this lane goes, and that's something to think about when you and your friends are playing or thinking. And it sounds very like simple, but it's something that a lot of people don't get. And Dota's not a game of copying, right? Like if you listen to the show,
kind of is honestly, but anyway.
I mean, it kind of is, but there's a lot of personal aspects into it. Like, for instance, if you listen to the show, like, let's say we have a great game, we dominate, we win. That does not necessarily mean that, like, you, like, kind listener, you and your friends should go run Weaver Nyx in the offlane. You might think, like, oh, well, I play Weaver, but he doesn't play Nyx, so let's run, like, Weaver Naga or Weaver Beastmaster or something.
Yeah, so don't run Weaver Naga. What the fuck?
Support Naga. and
In an aggro tri-lane?
No, it's aggro duo.
Aggro duo, whatever. Either way, it's still
I don't
bad.
think it's good, but like I
Neither
think it's
do
playable.
I. I don't think you should do that.
Okay, fine. A better example: Weaver Venge. Like, let's say your friend hates Nyx. He's scared of bugs, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna play Venge," and like that's kind of stuff where you can really keep using the word malleable, but you can kind of tweak these little things to suit you and your friends better. Similarly to how we tweak this combo to suit us better. So that's a very valuable thing to
also
discuss and learn.
All you mangy fucks who want to play a carry in the off lane, you're gonna pick Weaver anyway, so we might as well make sure you don't do it like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's for sure. Even like Sven in the off lane, like you were kind of joking about that, but we've seen some people where they run like these weird Sven builds, like they and you can kind of get away with a lot of things in aggro duo lanes that you can't get away with in solo off lanes.
Sven isn't actually that bad to offlane. Like I think like Universe played it once before Sven was like fucking like a rote hero.
We played against a 6. Sorry, go.
No.
We played against a like 6K guy. I remember in one of our team practices because, like we've said before, mid to low 4K party is like the worst system ever in the world. We got like a 6K stack that they ran an aggro try with a Sven, and he went phase boots Soul Ring. And we were like laughing, and we thought it was like the dumbest thing in the world, but like it totally worked. So that's something that like if you're playing Sven, you just got to change how you're doing it a little. So you can make a lot of things work in aggro duos or aggro tries that you cannot work into offlane otherwise. So it's something to put into your repertoire, especially if you're an organized 5 stack or an organized team. Running these kind of things, you can really set people off if they're not used to it. Like it's a huge asset, and it works. It works both ways, right? If you're used to playing it, that means you're used to playing. If somebody runs it against you, you're going to be more acclimated to their play style. Like if you never run aggro tri lanes and somebody aggro tries against you, you're not going to you may not react properly. So you want to have some experience in running these kind of things.
Just a little side note for your benefit. If you ever think of running Necro solo offlane, don't fucking do that. You have like 200 move speed and you don't have any armor and you don't have an escape. You're gonna fucking die. Okay?
Yeah.
All right?
Unless they're running like an aggro try and then like you can just 1v1. But I absolutely agree.
Then like one hero comes up and you're like, my old bones. I can't get away fast enough. Oh, help! Like that's you, and then you fucking die, and you don't do anything all fucking game. And then they build a Lincoln Spear, and you're like, "Well, guys, I got countered. I don't know what to say. Fuck you." Anyway.
So let's talk about the specifics of each hero.
Fine.
I guess I'll go first with Nyx. Nyx is he's a hero that has.
Nyx. I love him.
Yes, me too. I'm a big fan. He has a lot of pretty cosmetics.
Big fan of that guy. Yeah, they all look fucking different.
Yeah, it's confusing, honestly.
It's stupid. That's fucking dumb.
Fortunately, no other hero looks like him. Otherwise, you'd have like I don't know if you read it on the front page of Reddit today, but there's like people are like, "Oh, I hate cosmetics. My like old eyes can't acclimate to different abilities and stuff." And Nyx Assassin, though, he is a hero that has a lot of different builds, but they're all vaguely similar. Generally, what you do, in aggro duo, it's going to be a little more different because you're going to be more supporty than you would if you were solo offlaning him, like I generally do. For reference, solo offlane Nyx, every single game I do is Stout, double Mango Tango, and like you have 4 passive regen because they buffed his passive regen, and you have 2 mangoes. You have a full set of tangos, and then you just get mana boots, and people can't really harass you. You get a PMS pretty easily at the side shop. So that being said, we won't be doing that, or I won't be doing that today. In an aggro duo lane situation, I will probably go, let's see. I mean, it depends what kind of support items I have to buy because of the other person. But I'll probably have at least 1 mango, a set of tangos, and maybe a windlace or a stout shield, depending on their trio of heroes or duo of heroes or what have you. Windlace is really nice on Nyx Assassin because you can get closer. Just that little 20 move speed makes a big difference. And then you impale. Nyx is a hero that you get a lot of benefits from also if like you play him a ton, because Impale, you can like do it through tree line and you learn to really expect where people are moving. And Nyx he's not like an invoker level hero or a meeple level hero. Like you don't need to do a billion different. You don't need to play a billion games with him, but you will learn a lot of new things about Impale, like impaling from low ground up to high ground and anticipating movement. Anyway, item wise, I'm gonna go mana boots, high priority. If we have like an invoker mid or some other mid that doesn't pick up bottle, I will go bottle. And then I like the Dagon build, but honestly, it's not that good in most games. It's just fun.
Nope.
But the like ideal build is you go Force Staff or Blink.
You go
Generally,
Blink.
I prefer
You don't go
Force
Force
Staff.
What
No?
the
Okay.
fuck? You go Force Staff before
Okay.
Blink?
It depends.
What kind of new piece of shit show are you running?
I have many games of Nyx, and I will tell you why. All right, Nyx Aghanims is one of the best Aghanims in the game. It's so good, and you can Force Staff while you are Aghanims, and you can make crazy plays by Force Staffing through people and then having Impale or into Spike Carapace, because Spike Carapace then becomes an AoE around you, and you can do it while you're going through people, but you cannot blink while you are in your little burrow, and that means if you want to blink away, you're going to have to up burrow, and they're going to punch you, obviously, or you're going to have to blink in and then burrow, whereas you can burrow and then force into a fight. I still buy both. I buy both, to be fair. Like, blink is still really good. And the situation that you prefer blink over force is either if you need long range initiation, because obviously
which you don't not need in any game in Dota 2.
But you need it more in certain games. That's
so certain games Blink is best. Other games Blink is way the best. That's what I'm hearing right now.
No, okay. In certain games you rush the blink, like
define rush the blink. I mean, you go mana boots, you blink.
Mana boots blink, yeah. Oh, and then in other games you might go mana boots and then like finish an Aether Lens and then go blink, or you go mana boots.
Know if you would ever
Some people, it's like the new Sand King build where like a lot of people Sand King and they play brown boots, Aether Lens, and then go blink.
What the fuck?
Have you not seen that? I see that like every game. I see Sand King in the pros too. Like I've seen some like really legit players.
I'm too old for this shit, dude.
But also, if it's a game where you're kind of getting like wrecked and you don't think you can save 2250 gold to buy a blink dagger, go force.
Yeah, or that's valid, but
or if it's the kind of game where like, let's say theoretically you don't have a ton of items, but you get like a miraculous push and like you suddenly have like 2000 gold, but like the rest of the game is not going to provide you with a lot of farm. Like you can't rotate and kill supports. They have tanky supports that you can't one shot, whatever. Then
buy up that blink
because you can't buy because you're not going to be able to reasonably buy an Aghanims later to take advantage of the Aghanims Force Staff thing, because that's kind of the whole gimmick. That being said, again, like I would say buy both and just go skip the Aether Lens, just go brown boots and then blink or force and then the other one, and then Aghanims and then.
Wait, what about Arcanes?
Arcane. Oh yeah, I mean you buy the Arcanes first, always.
Brown boots, then Arcanes, because you just said brown boots, and I was like, no one is going to know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, and the other thing is, if you are Nyx is a very common counter pick as opposed to just like a hero that is picked generally. He's not bad in general, but he's very good in certain situations against silencers and invokers and ODs, for instance. High, what's his name, Tinker as well. Heroes with high intelligence, and in those situations, you are going to want to do things differently. Like you're going to skill a little different. Like you might put more points in mana burn as opposed to more points in Spike Carapace. So the hero has a lot of different malleable things. Also, if there's a lot of these high int heroes, Octarine Core is actually really legit on Nyx Assassin. It's like obviously a super late game item, but I dominated the OD patch on many games, and I climbed a lot of MMR just by counterpicking OD with Nyx. And I would just rotate to his lane, and then if the game went super late, I would have Ags and Octarine, and every like 2.5 seconds, I would be doing 800 damage to the guy. So Octarine is really legit if you can farm it. Obviously, that is a very important.
Yeah, if you can't farm items, typically they don't do quite as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, but don't even go for it, right? Like you got to look ahead and don't think like. If a game, you're not going to be able to get 4,200 gold reasonably between like now and the point where they're going to be trying to win the game, then don't go for Aghanims, right? Then buy a Force Staff or buy, an Aether Lens or what have you. So think about that And that's kind of my 2 cents on Nyx. I'm sure we'll talk more about my items afterwards because his items are so like different. So
I like
how
Nyx
about
a lot.
Weaver?
The one Nyx game I played recently, I was like a 5 support Nyx, which ordinarily would go terrible, but I just got a shit ton of really good ganks off, and it's like I think I did Mana Boots, Blink Dagger, and then I went like 4 Staff, and then a what is this item? Ghost Scepter. It's good, fun hero.
Yeah,
I like
Ghost
him.
Scepter.
Yeah, Ghost Scepter
He's
strong
really
on
fun
Nyx too. Especially because you can like Ghost Scepter, and then right as it's like wearing off, you Spike Carapace, and they're like, my entire BKB wore off in your Ghost Scepter, and now you're Spike Carapace. Fuck you.
Yeah, Nyx, I would say I would put him in the category of very underpicked heroes, considering how good he is.
Yeah, he's just hard to lane though, because he doesn't really work as like a lane support, right? And as a solo offlaner, he's underwhelming. But as a dual offlane kind of thing, like he can definitely find a spot.
And as a roamer, you can only gank when you have smoke up because he doesn't have like clear movement and he doesn't have like engage from afar like an Earth Spirit or a Kunkka even. Like Kunkka has X, so you can deal with the fact that you're slower. Yeah. Whereas Nyx, like you gotta like smoke and walk up from like a good position.
And then you gotta use your stun that can potentially miss with a long wind up. Yeah. And like by the time you're in range of it, your smoke has popped, and then you have to walk in range of them to do your fucking auto attack for 60 damage. Like it's difficult to gank with him early game unless you have some real like backup.
Okay, so he's Weaver, cool in like roaming duos. Anyway,
all right,
Weaver.
Let me tell you about Weaver. He a bug. He got leg. He skitter. He got bug. He spit. And he built Deso.
That is the important one, Deso.
So he is like, what? Would you let me?
Feel free, friend.
Gotta let me say what I'm trying to say. All right.
I'll allow it just this once.
All right. So some people they say, Sakuchi. This skill gives me max move speed. Therefore, what boot for? I know by boot now. No. You have to buy boots on Weaver. You have to. You can't.
Boot's good item.
You can't not buy boot. You got to do it. You can say, it don't matter what boot. There's a quote I love. He boot too big for he goddamn feet. Buy the boot anyways, okay?
Well, who are you quoting?
Just buy the boot.
I agree. All right. I think we've talked about this on other podcasts.
Make it a tread. Buy the boot.
Treads or like even mana boots. Like we were talking about the support Weaver, like mana boots.
Yeah, I mean, if you're that crazy motherfucker, like some people do weird shit and it works, and like that person does weird shit and it works, but don't try to do that. Like I know we talked about it, but that wasn't endorsed by us for you. That was like this human who exists in a vacuum that no one in reality has to like bother thinking about again. Like, don't worry. That happened. Put it out of your mind. Buy tread. If your options are between no boot and an arcane boot too big for your goddamn feet, buy the boot. Just buy boots. Don't not buy boots.
Anyway. 100% agreed. We have had discussions with other heroes like the famous Roland No Boot Nature's Prophet. Like, boots are good. Please buy them. And it does not matter what hero you are. In very specific situations, like if you need to carry Aegis and you're playing Storm Spirit, then yeah, sure, whatever. Drop your boots for Aegis. But overall, please buy boots. What is the rest of the Weaver build?
Here's the thing that, okay, yeah, I'm not actually, I don't really have time for this shit. Anyway, okay, so the rest of your build, all right, so you go so I like to start Ring of Protection, and I upgrade it to a Bastion lane because you can't go Quelling, and I like to have plus damage so I can last hit easily. So start with that. You get some nice armor so you're not like a squishy piece of shit. Then upgrade to boots and then treads. If as soon as you're out of regen, because, you know, I want to start something like, Tango South, and then maybe Tango South Mango, Ring of Protection. I don't think that's too bad.
That sounds good.
Okay, you don't have to. I'm not looking for your approval. And then you want to get like your Ring of Protection or your Ring of Health for your Lincoln Sphere, because normally you want to go Lincoln Sphere on this hero. Like, he doesn't have any passive health regen. Bassi doesn't make up for all the mana you spend using Sakuchi and your bugs and all that shit. So like going Lincoln Sphere is really good. He's a squishy hero, so you normally like the second you feel your Lincoln's pop, you go like, huh, what was that? What was that? You know, you're that fucking. That's the caveman SpongeBob. You're like, oh, Lincoln's popped. I need to go. Like that's you. That's Weaver. So as soon as your Lincoln pops, you're like, okay, all right, time to get the fuck out of here. And that's what Lincoln's is really good for. That's a nice little warning system. Like it's a triple alarm. You do it, you fucking get out because you're gonna die if anything happens to you because you're fucking Weaver. So that's
Also,
really
the stats
good.
are good.
Oh yeah, and they're
Lincoln
like good now.
stats. Yeah, they've been buffed for like 3 patches or something. Like every patch, they're like, "Hey, Lincoln's is nice. Build it."
Yeah, it's got like fucking 87 damage on it now, and then like also 40 strength, and also you crit when you have it. It's a good item.
It's wild good. It's better than BKB, 100%.
It's better than BKB. It's like BKB that happens on its own for a split second. Wow,
Yeah.
what an item.
It's
Anyway.
BKB for dummies.
That's what I used to think when I was playing Dota 1. I was like, oh, I could get this active BKB, or I could just get the passive BKB.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so you go like fucking Brown Boots, or you go Treads, Aki, Lincoln's is kind of where you want to be, and then you want to get your Deso as soon as possible. I still think Deso is like the best item in the game on Weaver. Some people are like, well, Maelstrom works now that Geminate Attack is Orby. I'm like, shut up. It's doesn't synergize with your minus armor, and like, damn, Geminate Attack plus Deso, what a fucking whoa, it's great. And then it also helps you split push, like your creeps do insane damage to towers when you got the Deso debuff up there. You do insane damage, it's great. And it works with your Geminate Attack, and like you shit on supports, you just tear through them. You know, minus armor is good on low armor targets. Like Weaver isn't too concerned with man fighting a carry. He's concerned with two-shotting your fucking Lion so he doesn't get fucking hexed and impaled when his next set of spells is off cooldown. So go an item that helps you with that. And you can get the early Blightstone now, which is really good. Like if you have like it wouldn't be uncommon to be like Treads. I don't even know if you have a finished Aki at this point. You do like Treads, your Bassi is finished, and you have Perseverance. You're just like in lane chilling, being a bug. And then you just buy the Blightstone. You're like, whoa, hey, I got a Blightstone. This is great. I also might even get Windlace because I love that item. And once you finish Lincoln Sphere, you may have open item slots. So like Windlace, because you know Sakuchi has a cooldown, turns out, and you need move speed on this hero. You fucking idiots.
Make the fast man faster.
Make the fast man super fast.
So that's it,
and then skills. You max W, and then you have 1 point E at 2, and you max W, and then you max Q. The bugs are strong bug.
Yeah, they are no longer the money bugs. They are the killing bugs.
Yeah, although if you're playing against Weaver and he's like, you're on high ground and then he throws his bugs at you and they're not about to push in, just like walk into it and get a free 30 gold. Sometimes I'm on Lone Druid and I walk into it with my unit and my bear and I get a free 60 gold. Hard counter.
Yeah, it's nice having extra money that people just hand you. It's like bad invokers that just feed you forward spirits, stuff like that.
Only these ones are like stuck to you, so you can like pick it up and like take it into the forest and just like rummage on it like you're fucking Timon and Pumbaa eating bugs. Oh god, I love that section of Lion King where they eat this. They're so juicy. And
they function off attacks, kind of like Phoenix Egg or Undying's Tombstone.
Yeah.
Unlike Forge Spirits, for instance, which are minions, but they have an actual health pool. So whether you're a 6-slotted Sven or a 1-slotted Witch Doctor, like you can kill the bug at obviously attack speed changes things, but you're still going to take whatever it is, like 4 hits to kill the bug. So it's rough. Bugs are really good. Yeah, let's play the game.
Okay.
So thanks for listening. You can watch the game, as always, on .ptv1, our YouTube channel, which also has been flooded with all of the podcasts and our backlog that we've been uploading. Bear with us. It's going to make things easier in the long run because a lot of people prefer YouTube, but our videos are there also. So go watch it. That's where we're going to play the game. Bye-bye. All right, so we're back, and the gods did not smile upon us this fine day. The game was... I would say it was not the best game we've ever had. Would you agree, Proud? It was a little rough.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say about this game because the game was just kind of a mess, right? We just kind of ran at each other and like I didn't really learn anything. But
Well, I mean, I don't know. Like it was pretty stupid, but on the plus side, I mean, I went 4-0 and 19, you went 2-0 and 18, and we just kind of shit stomped everyone, and we had a lot of fun. So
that did happen. So that helps the game with those scores. Yes, we did win. It was quite the game, and
we tricked you. You thought we lost, but we fucking won. We won.
We won.
It was
happy. We're starting the official .p Theorycrafting Thursday winning streak.
Oh my God.
We are the only weekly show with a winning streak currently going. Cue the air horns.
The crowd goes fucking wild. It's just Proud coming up left field. Weaver, Sakuchi down the line.
get the Geminate attack, kills the anti-mage, one shot, fucking Nyx Assassin in the back is the blink, and just fucking 3-man stun. Woo!
Yep.
That was basically the game.
So yeah, the game was quite good. It was only a 30-minute game because we kind of just like dominated. Not only us specifically, although the two of us were the only people in this entire game with no deaths, which is an interesting fact.
So impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. And after the game, we actually revised your build because we forgot about Dragonlance in the first part of this show. And D-Lance is quite good on Weaver, it turns out. That's something that that's one of the heroes that I always see Dragonlance on, and somehow I just didn't think of it. But that was really good. Anyway, I'll just run down the teams. Our team had obviously an aggro dual lane, off lane, Nyx Assassin Weaver. We had a mid lane Timbersaw who just picked mid Timbersaw. Like normally you see as a counter pick to like a Dragon Knight or some other melee mid laner, but he just picked it. Yeah, and I mean, he was very effective, to be fair.
Yeah.
Then we had a roaming Oracle, which technically was bottom lane for a little bit, but was primarily roaming, and which sounds really weird, but actually worked out. The guy was pretty legit. And we had a safe lane Wraith King, and he was a safe lane Wraith King. It is what it is. The enemy team, though, they ran an off lane Tidehunter, a jungle Enigma, and a mid lane Necrophos, and then their safe lane, which we went up against, was an anti-mage and a vengeful spirit. So the kind of nice thing that happened was they jungled, right? So it was us two versus it was a 2-on-2, and obviously we came out ahead. Anti-mage is not the best hero for fighting off aggro tri lanes or aggro dual lanes for that matter.
He's not too bad though, because we couldn't kill them. Like our level 1 wasn't quite as good. Or wasn't too much better than theirs was, so he just like Isakuchi'd on them, and Anti-Mage was like, well, what if you just didn't have mana? What would you do then, my good sir? And I was like, well, I guess I didn't think about that one, and that was bad. But after we got like level 2 and we were able to really threaten the Venge, because they didn't come with that much regen, so we just like beat the fuck out of them. That's he started quelling Stout Tango. Man, if you ever start that item, that item set, that's 3 things. Like I'm so happy that I'm against you because you are stupid as fuck, you little fucking idiot.
This was one of those things where even Roland has like a whole new respect for safe laning now that I don't know if it was like you or me or if he learned it from somebody else, but not opening with the Coin Blade and then just buying an extra set of whether it's an extra set of tangos or an extra salve, and then just buying the Calling Blade at the side shop. You have exactly the amount of gold from walking from the rune to the side shop, especially if you're a hero like Anti-Mage and you can blink if they catch you out for some weird reason or something. It's so good. Please get extra regen. Because even if we weren't an aggro dual lane, you still need extra regen in a lot of off lane situations. If it's a Tide or even a Faceless, stuff like that. He's gonna punch you more than 4 tangos worth. So, anyway, basically the way our lane went was we were aggressive, and I would say our primary route of aggression, I suppose, was you just peppering them with Geminate attacks. So every time Anti-Mage. And that too, but every time
Scoochie, it's when you want someone to scooch over and they're 5 and you have to, Scoochie please, because you're a child. That's what Scoochie is.
Right. Anyway, so every time,
hilarious, I love it.
Anti-Mage walked up, you would just hit him with a Geminate attack. I would hit him occasionally, but I do no damage because I'm an assassin, and then Oracle would come up to lane, and then we would finalize the kill. He's also not very good, which helped us out in the grand scheme of things.
Hey,
but
you always got to capitalize.
Yeah, it was
start a new sentence. Capitalize the first letter.
Yep, it was a good laning phase though, for sure. And Enigma being in the jungle really helped us out, right? Like we said, because even though he got good farm, also they built 2 mechanisms. So because they were a 3 stack and a 2 stack.
You're delegitimizing the win right now. All right, don't you? Okay.
Well, we've got to inform the people why they lost and factors that contributed to that loss. Primarily mech, us, obviously, but also double mech. That's 2,300 wasted gold, and that kind of suffered. But yeah, I mean, overall, they're. Sorry, go.
I would just like to say that you could look at this and I think it would be you'd be a rational person to say
all right, yeah, the other team was kind of bad. Honestly, a lot of why we won is because the other team was like pretty bad. But also think about if we didn't aggro dual lane, the fact that their anti-mage sucked and the Venge that bought no regen, or not no regen, but only bought one tango, like that wouldn't have been contested. Like they would have got away with doing that stupid bullshit if we didn't go aggro, right? So the fact that we did aggro, like we did something that I called I like talking about this when I was playing a lot of Theorycraft too. It's like a win check, or it's checking your opponent. So like you wanna put forth pressure somewhere, and then if you notice a vulnerability, you check for a vulnerability and then you push there. So when you do an aggro dual lane, you're checking their safe lane for the vulnerability, and we see it. So we're not so then we just pushed all out into it. If there was no vulnerability, if they had a really strong tri lane that all bought a shit ton of regen, we would have played it differently, of course. But that the advantage of the aggro dual lane is it gives you an avenue to check for a weakness, as opposed to if you have a solo offlaner like a Faceless Void, or maybe a more passive offlaner. Like you go aggro, and even if you do notice the weakness, you can't do a lot with it. With the aggro dual lane, you pick up on where the weakness is. You've got fucking feelers out everywhere. You echolocate where the fucking soft spot is, and then you put your fucking torpedo down the fucking exhaust shaft or whatever the fuck happened in A New Hope.
Yeah, so I mean that's basically what we were talking about earlier, right? We were saying how this gives us options, and exactly like you said, if we ran a traditional offlaner and we had committed ourselves to like a safe lane tri lane to protect a Wraith King, which would have been the stupidest thing in the world, we would not have had the option of seeing, oh hey, this anti-mage is an idiot, and oh the Venge bought one set of tangos and presumably Ward's courier, and had to two-pool the mid lane Necrophos. So he came to lane with like, I don't even remember the specific item, but it was basically like 2 tangos and like 2 branches or something. I don't even think he had branches because he couldn't get extra regen from those. It was like a set of tangos and like a ring of protection so that he could build a Bassi. And like that is not a position of strength. That is for sure. That is not a situation, right? Like I think, especially as a support player, there are plenty of times where like I have had instances where I come to lane and I see the opponent and like they do something unexpected and I'm just like, boy, we freaking lost. Like if I was that Venge, granted, I would never only come to lane with 2 tangos. That's silly.
Yeah,
but
like what is the ring of protection for? 2 armor that's going to become like what?
Yeah.
What? Buy tango. What are you doing?
Yeah. Even if it was 2 branches or whatever, like you just don't want to be put in a position where you cannot deal with oncoming pressure or oncoming whatever. And this applies to like everything in Dota. Like you don't want your draft to be particularly weak to a certain thing, but definitely as a support, like you want, if the enemy has some flexibility, like if you see their lineup and you're like, boy, I don't know who is going to be the offlaner, who's going to be in the mid, like you want to prepare for all scenarios as much as one can, obviously. There's only so much one can do. But so that's something to think about. Like, don't show up the lane if you're a carry with only 4 tangos, assuming it's going to be some garbage off lane, like I don't know, a Slardar that like you zone. Like that's not going to do much. Or like a solo Weaver. If it was a solo Weaver, this would not have gone well. Although you probably still would have got a little bit.
Yeah, I would have been okay. But I mean, just like the fact that at level 1, AM could just walk on me and burn my mana. Like, when I was saying, I was like, yeah, maybe a passive offlaner. But still, I mean, they were weak enough that a passive offlaner probably could have done something. But I don't know. Like, if you don't match up well against getting mana burned, which very many heroes do not like getting mana burned, that would have been a hard lane.
Yep. Yeah, like, I mean, another example, if it was just a solo Nyx offlane to counter their lineup, because Nyx is quite good against Enigma and decent against, what's his name, Necrophos. But if it was a solo Nyx offlane, like, sure, I would have gotten levels, but I wouldn't have really gotten, like, any pressure on the AM because I'm a Nyx.
And, I mean, like, the AM was stupid, but he also built extremely greedy, so it may be fairly logical to say he may have been competent when being greedy, because he's just used to always being super greedy, so, like, maybe if we didn't contest him that hard, he would have just farmed like a fucking madman.
Yep.
You never know, man.
So let's talk about items. I mean, we already kind of went over your items. You went Treads, Windlace, Aki,
so I went
Lincoln's Deso.
Brown boot. So I finished my Bassi, then I went brown boots, and then this is like the in-depth. Finished Bassi, brown boots. I bought Perseverance just because I had all my mana burned by the Animage, and I started needing regen after a while. Then I finished the Treads, then I finished the Aki, then I finished I got the Windlace, and then I finished my my Lincolns, and then I got Blightstone, and then I got Deso.
And then Dragon
and then Dragonlance after. I think going back on it, I don't know if I would skip Aquila, man, because you need it so much for split pushing. And Weaver's like a Weaver with a Blightstone and an Aquila, like he could split push pretty well.
Yeah.
And like I really liked, like I had Lincolns and then I had Deso, and then afterwards I got the Dragonlance so I could high ground, like I didn't have to be humping towers to hit them. I think that might have actually just been fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's fine in this game. I think in a different game, like where Lincoln's is less mandatory, right? Because we're against a Necrophos and even Venge, like you really don't want to get like stunned or swapped or whatever.
Sure.
So the Lincoln's is high priority.
Totally. Yeah.
But in other games, I think you could get away with having the extra tank from Dragonlance to compensate for the fact that you're going to take more damage because you will the Lincolns up. So that's an alternative if they're like a primarily AoE team or, you know, other situational situations.
If I'm not against a Necrophos or if it's not a great Lincoln's game, you can skip the Lincolns and get the Dragonlance instead, and maybe get something like you can also just like get a wand or something with whatever item slot you have open, and not stress too hard about having a Windlace.
Yep. And then for me, I went Mana Boots, and then I disassembled, bought Aether Lens. Then I rebought Mana Boots because mana, like our team needed a lot of mana, and we didn't have a lot of Mana Boots once the Timber disassembled and built Bloodstone. And the Oracle went Guardian Greaves, so like he couldn't just spam his Mana Boots at me whenever I needed them. Also, I was constantly pressuring since I wasn't dying, right? So I like only went back to base like once or twice this entire game, so I needed that constant mana. So I rebuilt Mana Boots. Also, eventually, if the game had went long, I would have built Octarine, so consider it an investment. Then I bought Blink Dagger, and then I went Aghanim Scepter, but I picked it up as the Throne fell, so who cares?
Yeah. I would like to know... Sorry, go on.
I probably would have gone Force Staff after this Aghanims. In another game, like, I seriously thought about going Dagon, almost entirely because it's fun and I like the item. But it's pretty decent against, like, you know, their Enigma and Necrophos, where, like, they're high int heroes that I can just nuke down. Yeah. That being said, it's definitely not the optimal build. It's just fun.
Well,
it's actually...
I don't know. I think it might have been the optimal build this game because, like, we were ahead, right? And Dagon is one of those very oppressive items. Like, when a Tinker is ahead and he has Dagon E-Blade, you can't do anything. You just, like, you walk out of base and you die. And a Dagon Nyx Assassin is similar. Like, if you can get flat damage to the point where you one-shot someone, like, I mean, obviously not one shot, but you kill them in your stun combo. Like that's a big deal. That's like a binary difference between a very effective Nyx Assassin and like a disabling Nyx Assassin, right? So I think if you can get to the point where you're just one shotting people when we're that far ahead and we're not dying, I think that would have been okay. I do want to note that Aether Lens first Nyx Assassin is fucking awful, but it did actually make a decent amount of sense this game because you wanted it to counter the Enigma because you were like kind of our main stun against him. And you wanted to be able to stun him without having to completely like reposition, and getting Blink would have been kind of hard, especially with he was being really good at putting down his stupid bullshit. What's that shit called? Midnight Pulse. Yeah, he was good about putting his pulse down, so getting a Blink off would have been kind of hard. You have Necrophos spamming Q, you have Tide Ravaging, all that shit. So you just got the extra range with the Aether Lens, just so you could get the stun out, you know, across this black hole, and you wouldn't be too afraid of getting hit by the black hole.
Yeah, and then eventually I would have had even more range because Aghanims gives additional range to Impale. It doubles the range. It does not double the Aether Lens effect, obviously, but, you know, it's still super far. It's basically like over a screen's worth of Impale. That being said, to go back on the Dagon thing, generally so in this game, one of the big reasons I didn't go Dagon is because we were 5-manning and they had to address our 5-man, so there weren't a lot of times for pickoffs.
Sure.
In other games, like, especially when you're playing counterpick Nyx Assassin, where you're counterpicking a Invoker or an OD, for instance, that's when you're trying to chase around a guy around the map and you're not necessarily 5-manning and the enemy team's not necessarily 5-manning, so you can wreak a lot of havoc on the enemy team with that like instant kill Dagon combo. Also, actually, by the way, running Nyx with an Invoker on your team is sick because you can Sunstrike and Dagon and Impale and Mana Burn and Vendetta Strike, and you'll kill like anybody over and over again. Yeah. Quite good. So that's generally my thesis on like when to go Dagon and when not to is you have to assure like they have squishy targets, right? If their support is like an Ogre Magi, you're not going to be able to burst that guy whether you have a Dagon or not. B, are you 5-man or are they 5-man? If yes, no, you should go like something more consistent like an Aether Lens or an Aghanim Scepter. Another key point is Dagon 1 is actually an incredibly efficient purchase when you think about damage to gold. Dagon only gets bad when you invest a ton into it. So In this game, I
I don't know. I would kind of disagree because the appeal to me of getting Dagon 1 versus Dagon 5 isn't the damage so much as the cooldown. Like cooldown of Dagon 5 is so low, it's crazy good.
Well, it depends, right? Because it doesn't matter if you have low cooldown if you're playing a pickoff Nyx Assassin,
That's
because
true.
The guy's either dead
You're
or he's not dead and you're running away.
That
being said, if you're also mid Nyx Assassin is not something I would advocate for doing if you are not in a veteran Nyx Assassin player, but it's actually really good in certain matchups. For instance, back when Storm was a top tier hero, I would just play mid Nyx and I would just kill him over and over again because he remnants the thing. You tank the remnant with Spike Carapace, then you impale him, you mana burn him, you vendetta him, and he just dies over and over again. That being said, mid Nyx Assassin is not easy to do, so it takes some practice. But mid Nyx Assassin is somewhere where I almost 100% of the time go Dagon because you're playing a very different, more aggressive style of Nyx Assassin. But when you are playing support or roaming or aggro duo or straight offlane Nyx Assassin, you're not going to have that incredible amount of farm to have a 10-minute mana boots bottle Dagon. Except obviously if you're really lucky and you get first blood and kills and whatever. That being said, Dagon is really good. It's a legit item. Even Dagon 1, if they have supports that you can just barely not kill, but they're important supports, let's say a Witch Doctor, getting that Dagon 1 just to kill that one person in every team fight is pretty significant, right? It's only 2,700 gold. The stats on it are not that bad, and it's only really a money pit once you sink a bunch of cash into it, which sounds obvious, but Dagon 1 is pretty good in a lot of games, and then you just recycle it later. Also, you can use Dagon while you're burrowed in Aghanims, which is nice.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. That's honestly one of the bigger reasons why Dagon is coming back on Nyx Assassin is because, and Force Staff similarly, because you can use active items while you're burrowed, except for Blink Dagger.
That's interesting. I like that.
You can also use Glimmer Cape and that kind of stuff. And I don't think you get additional range from Burrow. You definitely don't. Actually, I shouldn't even question myself. But there is some nice synergy there. So yeah, I mean that's kind of my thoughts on Nyx. I think this was a really good game overall for us. I mean, obviously it wasn't some 70-minute slugfest, but it was a good showcase of when an aggro duo lane works and kind of why it works. And fortunately, our other lanes also did well. Also, they all spoke Spanish, and we just used the chat wheel, and everything was cool, easy.
Yeah,
just use the chat wheel.
Interesting way to say cool, by the way.
I was gonna say kosher, and then I didn't. So I was
I know how that goes. You want to say a word, but then you're why don't I change it? But you're already talking, and you fucking changed it anyways. Yeah,
exactly.
Sometimes I say fuck, and I meant to say shit, and it's just everyone is embarrassed.
I was going to say, I'm embarrassed for you, honestly, admitting that in the first place. So yeah, anyway, use the chat wheel. It's a really good thing. You said that on yesterday's Wednesday show, which for anybody who has not listened to it, Proud was on the Wednesday show, and it was quite good. He was on there with Roland and Cyphus, and it was a rousing good time.
Yeah,
so, if
you're not into Pro Dota, maybe sometimes you skip the Wednesday show. 1, fuck you, listen to the Wednesday show. 2, I am on that, so maybe start off your new trend of always listening to the Wednesday show by listening to me and Roland and Cyphus.
Yeah, it was a quality episode, and I hope to see more things like that in the future.
At least you appreciate me when I'm not here, right?
My favorite way of listening to Proud is not with me.
Yeah, not firsthand.
Yes. All right. Also, listening to other people acclimate themselves to your speech patterns and your sense of humor. Roland is used to it, but Cyphus, or the other day we were talking about Wazoo, and it was the three of us, and some people are just so dazed and confused. It's great.
Dude, I was talking to someone today, and she was talking about how her dad works for NASA, and I was doing my fucking humor, and I was like, yeah, I mean, NASA, who gives a shit about that? Space is fucking stupid. And then she was like, oh wait, you're kidding me. Yeah. She's like, oh, I was mad. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to. NASA's cool. I like space.
It's it takes a bit of getting used to. We all have those types of folks.
I've gotten good at explaining it after I do it at this point, so it's okay.
And that's the best way to enjoy a joke is when it has to be.
Yeah, that's the key. The Simpsons taught me that.
You know what the best way to enjoy Defense of the Patience is? It's through our plugs, and I'm gonna read those now. Okay. We have a Twitch. As we are speaking right now, kind sir.
Wait, I want to see if I can chug this bottle of soy sauce before you finish.
Okay, have fun, buddy. All right. If Proud dies, and I might have to have like a new co-host.
I'm not going to do
on
that. I'm not
Thursday.
fucking
Okay.
stupid. I just
I'm
want
gonna
to
say
just get
sodium
you
is
out.
dangerous, friend.
Oh, dude. Yeah, so are car accidents.
I would know. Anyway, twitch.tv/.ptv. That's where you can catch us streaming. I stream Roland streams, and we also have in-houses every Wednesday night, 9 Eastern. They are running as we speak. They're a lot of fun. Come hang out. It's a good time, even if you're just hanging out, watching, or playing. Do whatever. We also have a ladder if you care about internet points.
Before everyone ignores the plugs and turns the episode off, on tomorrow we're recording a Pokemon Go episode that'll come out on Friday. So there's a Pokemon Go episode coming out Friday. So look for that on Friday.
That is happening. We're excited for it. Team Instinct.
Woo!
God bless. All right.
Every day of my life, I look at the yellow sun and I say, "This is for you, Instinct. This great ball in the sky that I made myself. This is for you."
All right. YouTube channel where you can watch our game we just played, youtube.com/.ptv1, numeric 1, website, defensivepatience.com. We have an Amazon banner there. Click it, and we get a small portion of whatever you buy. Not a portion of the item, but a portion of the dollars that are spent, or the euros or pesos or the... I was going to say the English form of currency, but it's not worth anything anymore, so don't need to know that one. Twitter, you can find me at Ursinity, Proud at Proud Dota. Everybody from the show
at Flub Dota. Make sure to follow Flub at Flub Dota with 2 B's. You mangy fucks.
Flub was surprisingly quiet during this entire recording. I was expecting more participation from him, but we did not get it. That being said, he's a lovely Tuesday show host, and we hope to steal him back for the Thursday show sometime because he is just such a lovely young man.
Yeah. And he's going to be at TI. I'm going to fucking chew his arms off.
He is going to do that thing. Please don't chew his arms off. .p_show is our Twitter for the show. Email us at defenseofthepatients@gmail.com. That is another way to contact us. Patreon.com/defenseofthepatients is yet another way to support us. If you enjoy the show, we would greatly appreciate, $1 or $2 or $3 or $1.
17. Directly to 17. My PayPal, please.
Reddit.com/r/defenseofthepatients is another way that you can interact with the community. Also, our Discord channel, which you can find on defenseofthepatients.com under the ladder tab. Discord is a great way to interact with the community and also the hosts. I am constantly on Discord. I would love to talk to you, kind of listener. And last but not least, iTunes reviews. They help us out. I know a lot of you don't listen to the show through iTunes, but it still helps us grow. And it's a great way to, get notoriety and get more people to listen to the show. So,
you know how you tell that local business that you like that you'll give them a review on Yelp and then you don't? Do the same thing for us, only on iTunes, and then actually do it, because I just wish you would just notice sometimes just the effort we put in. I don't know.
We appreciate it very much. So on that note, thanks for listening to the show. Hopefully we all learned something about ourselves, about each other, and I'm going to go sit down and have a nice cup of tea and reflect on this lovely episode. Okay. So just remember, of course, it's been our theory, and it's probably your fault.